Imagine earning over $150,000, not in a year, in a single minute. That is the reality for Jeff Bezos. When he takes an 11-minute trip to space aboard a Blue Origin rocket, where a single ticket once auctioned for $28 million, it highlights a lifestyle far removed from ordinary human experience. While we often label cultural icons like Bezos or Bill Gates as millionaires, they are actually billionaires. A billion is 1,000 times greater than a million. Staring at a bank account while comparing yourself to Warren Buffett creates massive cognitive dissonance. You see the private jets and sprawling estates, and it feels like wealth requires superhuman abilities. This conflation of millionaire and billionaire in the public eye makes the climb to financial independence look like a vertical, unclimbable cliff. Confusing these two distinct mathematical categories often paralyzes everyday people. When the finish line looks that distant, taking the first step feels pointless. There is a persistent belief that hitting $1 million net worth requires a massive inheritance, an elite degree, or extreme luck. The largest study of millionaires ever conducted in North America contradicts those assumptions. Researchers surveyed 10,000 millionaires to find out how they actually built their wealth. The typical millionaire lives in a normal residential neighborhood. They drive used Hondas or Fords, and they still cut their own grass on the weekends. Since wealth is not an exclusive club for the uber-rich, our cultural perception of money is flawed. We need a specific set of rules to understand how ordinary people actually use their income to build security. This bar graph reveals the truth. 93% of millionaires are self-made. 62% graduated from public state schools. They didn't rely on massive salaries. Only 31% averaged $100,000 a year. Instead, they practice intense frugality, with 93% actively using coupons. By consistently applying these habits, it takes these ordinary people an average of exactly 17 years to cross the $1 million mark. Reaching this level of wealth is the predictable result of a specific behavioral pattern executed over a set timeline. The exact mechanism to reach this milestone is a framework called the Baby Steps. The first 3 steps act as a brutal short-term sprint designed to completely break the chains of debt. During this phase, you temporarily halt all investing to focus every dollar on one goal, violently eliminating every single non-mortgage debt in about 2 to 3 years. Once the debt is gone, the mindset must change. You enter the marathon phase, moving from frantic intensity to steady, decades-long intentionality for steps 4 through 7. This marathon is where real wealth takes shape. Your income, your single most powerful wealth-building tool, is finally redirected entirely towards your future rather than your past. Mastering this psychological transition determines who actually makes it to the finish line. This line chart maps a 35-year-old earning $65,000. Step 4 invests 15% of that income into retirement, about $800 a month into mutual funds. Through compound growth, that regular investment surges, pushing the balance past $1.8 to $2.8 million by age 65. While those investments grow, Step 6 directs any remaining extra income toward paying off the home mortgage early. The data shows millionaires typically clear their house payment in about 11.2 years. This pie chart reveals the anatomy of a typical everyday millionaire. Once the steps are completed, their net worth sits in 2 distinct buckets, roughly 2/3 in retirement savings and 1/3 in a completely paid-off home. Webster, an ordinary IT worker who battled severe debt and learning disabilities, followed this exact formula. By starting at age 44, he built a net worth of $1.45 million in just 16 years. This milestone is independent of your background or past financial mistakes. It is the logical outcome of basic arithmetic applied consistently over time. The 2 categories of wealth are like 2 very different mountains. Becoming a billionaire is like climbing Mount Everest. It requires immense capital, perfect timing, and life-or-death risk to reach the summit. The journey to becoming an everyday millionaire mirrors a hike up Clingman's Dome in the Great Smoky Mountains. This path is a paved incline, accessible to anyone willing to put in the effort. It requires a jacket, some sweat, and consistency, but it does not require extreme risk. Reaching the status of a millionaire requires following a math formula, independent of luck or genetics. The actual barrier standing in your way is a culture that suggests you are permanently stuck with debt and payments. While market fluctuations and life emergencies are real, the National Study of Millionaires shows that those who consistently apply these steps reach the goal in an average of 17 years. By ignoring the billionaire myth and living on less than you make, you position yourself on a track where reaching that summit becomes the logical result of your own persistence.